right, well, welcome back, wonderful students. This is going to be a tutorial for your assignment that you're going to be in charge of doing for your next reading, Part 1, Book 9, The Lotus Eaters and the Cyclops. Now, if you haven't already, you're going to download this document into Notability, and you're going to complete it, and then you will submit it back to Schoology. So what we're really looking for is the evidence of a hero. And you really want to ask yourself, what do you think the characteristics of a hero are? Is it bravery? Is it intelligence? Is it fortitude? Is it the fact that a hero can accomplish great feats of strength? Just kind of brainstorm and give me 3 characteristics of a hero on your worksheet. And then when you have done that, you're already thinking about, okay, what is it that I believe a true hero exhibits? And this is really going to be the basis that we're going to be looking at when we start our essay for this unit. So it's pretty important to keep heroic elements in mind as you're reading. First of all, you're going to review the active reading, and you're going to locate evidence of heroism after you're done reading Book 9. So as you're reading, you definitely want to keep that in mind, okay? Once you've located that evidence, you're going to go ahead and you're literally going to copy word for word, verbatim, the direct quote. And important to this part is citing it in MLA format. Now, because this is considered a poem, similar to what we've done before in our poetry unit, we're going to cite the line numbers. But because this epic poem is so epic and vast, when you cite in MLA format, you want to make sure you're citing the part, and we're in Part 1 right now, and then put a period. Then you're going to cite the book number, and then you're going to put a period. And then you're going to give the lines. This example is given to you with the 2 examples that I have listed on this assignment for you. You'll notice that in this parenthetical citation, number 1 is Part 1, period. Then you have a 5. That means it's Book 5. And then you've got 80 through 86. Which means this is numbers 80, line numbers 80 through 86. And if you count it, right, I got 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. Oop, Mrs. Milligan messed up on that one. Anyway, so we'll say 85. Okay. So when you're citing in MLA format, make sure you have the part, book, and line numbers. I'll be looking for that for points. Okay? And again, this is verse or poetry. So here in this first example, you'll notice I have 4 lines or more, and that is why it is cited the way that it is. And I just realized, no, I didn't mess up on the citation, so let me go ahead and fix that, because it starts up here. This is actually line 80, then 81, 82, 83, 84, 5, and 6. All right, sorry about that. So because I have 4 lines or more of poetry, I have to block quote it like I've done here. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the difference between this line or this margin as compared to the margin of my own words, it's indented. So keep in mind, 4 lines or more, you're going to cite it like it's here in this first example. The second example is an example of 3 lines or less. And you'll notice because of that, I've used the slash marks to show where line 7 ends and line 8 begins, and where line 8 ends and line 9 begins. With this citation, you'll notice it's a different story. It is still part 1, but now we are in book 9 and looking at a new set of line numbers. Okay. So similar to what we did before, right? We've got our introduction to the actual evidence, and then we have the actual data. Now, something I'd like to point out to you here is the use of quotation marks. Okay, when it comes to MLA format, you'll notice that here we've got a set of double quotation marks and then a single quotation mark. The double quotation mark sets off data from the actual paper or the other writing in the paper. And then the single set of quotation marks denotes that someone is speaking. Hence, single and then double at the end also. But you'll notice here in the previous quote that someone is speaking, and it's Odysseus, but here, because I've set off the entire quote already, I'm only using double quotes to show that someone is speaking. Okay? If you have any questions about that, you can definitely email me. Okay? So just some examples there of what you're going to do for column 2. Now, when it comes to column 3 and column 4, we're really kind of breaking down warrants here. And this is what we need to work on next for our upcoming essay. You're going to interpret or basically explain what words in the data show heroism. Literally interpreting from one language to another, right? And then we're going to analyze in column 4 by explaining how that data shows heroism. And I'll let you look over these in detail. But what I've done is, right, I've introduced my direct quote here, telling you when it happens and who is doing what. Okay? And then I've given you the data. If you notice, this is the quote that we were looking at in our other document when we were reviewing here in part 1, book 5. So all I've done is copied this evidence onto my chart, and then I've answered the what. I've broken down the actual keywords and phrases that are in the data that I've cited. And then when I've analyzed how this shows heroism, I take all of these different phrases and words and put them into a clear sentence formatted explanation. Now that's a little review for what you're going to expect. When you read book 9, you're going to read 2 different stories. The first story is the Lotus Eaters. The second story is the Cyclops. And I expect you to pull 2 quotes from one from each story and complete the chart. And then down here, finally, don't forget number 3, I'd like you to find one piece of evidence that shows the opposite of heroism or a non-heroic trait. And take your chance at writing it out verbatim, a direct quote, making sure that you introduce it, cite it in MLA format, and then explain the what and the how. And that's it. Then you're done. If you have any questions, please